said. 2, we're going to start with 1, Marvin Lewis in Cincinnati. A piece by Henry McKenna in USA Today about 4 days ago basically said that they're leaving it up to him, meaning the Bengals leaving it up to Marvin Lewis. What do I mean by that? Well, Henry's article starts off, and I quote, "The Cincinnati Bengals are giving Marvin Lewis the power to dictate the terms of his exit, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. And as of now, the Bengals intend to let Lewis coach for as long as he wants," end quote. Now, this is what Adam Schefter wrote about the situation. I saw this on a piece on ESPN. Schefter goes and quote, "If the Denver Broncos part ways with head coach Vance Joseph, he is expected to emerge as a candidate for the Cincinnati Bengals defensive coordinator position and potentially even their head coaching job when Marvin Lewis decides he has had enough of coaching," a league source tells ESPN, end quote. So the fact that the Bengals are setting themselves up with a plan of succession indicates 2 things to you. That they're preparing for Lewis to potentially retire in the near future, maybe after a year or 2. Or on the other hand, Lewis could decide to coach for 5, 6, 7 more years. And for now, the Bengals will honor that, it looks like. Now, considering the Bengals collapse this season, and in seasons past that they have made it a habit of collapsing, it's really just weird to me to see Cincinnati be so accommodating to a head coach who has 0 postseason wins in 7 appearances over 16 seasons. And it would stand to reason that Lewis would be on the hot seat heading into this postseason and into next season. It's not what it sounds like. Somehow the Bengals are giving Marvin Lewis all the power here. And that's what blows my mind. I said 16 seasons. He's had 0 wins. 16 seasons at the helm of an NFL team. And this man has not won a single playoff game. This is Marvin Lewis's record. This is what he's got in 16 seasons. 2003, 8-8. 2004, 8-8. 2005, 11-5. Lost in the first round. Lost to the Steelers in the wild card game. 06, 8-8. 07, 7-9. 08, 4-11-1. 2009, 10-6. Lost to the Jets. I remember that one in the AFC wildcard game. 2010, 4-12. 2011, 9-7, 0-1. Lost to the Texans in the AFC wildcard game. 2012, 10-6. Lost to the Texans AFC wildcard game. I remember watching that game at Carl's Clipper at a sorority party. So I remember that game very well. I do remember that myself. 2013, 11-5. Lost in the first round of the Chargers in the wild card game. 10-5-1 in 2014. 0-1. Lost to the Colts in the AFC wild card game. 12-4. 2015, their best year. 0-1. Lost to the Steelers in the AFC wild card game. Since 2016, they have been 6-9-1, 7-9. And they are 6-9 this year with 2 losses. Now, granted, the Browns are 7-7-1 right now. They're a 500 team. But they have lost both games to the Cleveland Browns, who have been a doormat in their division and in the NFL for God knows how long. He's 131, 121-3, and 0-7 in the playoffs. 0-7. And I'll do you one better, folks. The Bengals have never been. They have never, ever been to an AFC divisional game. They've won a couple of division titles. They've won 1, 2, 3. They won 4 division titles. They've won the AFC North 4 times, but they were never good enough to get the bye. So they always had to play on Wild Card Weekend. So keep that in mind. Not only has he gotten, first off, has he only gotten to the playoffs 7 times in 16 seasons, he hasn't won a playoff game, and the Bengals have never made it out of the AFC wild card game with Marvin Lewis at the helm. They sit and die in the AFC wild card game. They've never even known what it's like to play in a freaking divisional round. They haven't even gone out in the first round in the divisional round. And they want to give this guy the power? Who does this guy know? Really? Does he have pictures of management with goats? Naked in a hotel somewhere? I mean, what? I don't understand how this guy has a job. And it's only fair to rant about this because if not, if you're saying, oh, well, Chris, why you got on Marvin Lewis? Do me a favor. If you're on this channel, hit subscribe and go back and see my rant on Jeff Fisher 2 years ago. I killed the Rams on that. And literally an hour after that rant was posted, I'm not saying we had anything to do with it, but an hour after that rant, the Rams played the Patriots, lost, and he was fired. But, I mean, Jeff Fisher's even out of a job. And Mike McCarthy, a guy, let's look at Mike McCarthy. He won 10 games. Not a great postseason record. 10-8. And really, if you take away the Super Bowl, it's not great. Not great at all. He's only 6-8 if you take away the Super Bowl. So he does have a losing record. But he would still have 6 more playoff wins than Marvin Lewis. The guy went 125, 77-2. He won over 120 games. He made the playoffs 9 times. He won the NFC North 6 times. He made it to the NFC Championship game 4 times. He made it to divisional rounds. This guy won. Now, you want to make the argument that he didn't win enough? He didn't win enough with the Packers? Yes, you can say that. That's a fair statement. With a guy like Aaron Rodgers, a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, yes, Mike McCarthy didn't win. But the bottom line is, he still won over 120 games. He won a Super Bowl, and he was fired during the season. And this guy, he keeps his job. I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me. Give me the logic. See, I want to be a reporter. I would love to be a Cincinnati Bengals reporter and sit there and get the owners and get management right in front of me with a microphone in my hand. And I'd be like, what can you say? Explain to me why after 16 seasons, 0-7 in the playoffs, and he still has a job. He is still employed. Why? 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 Answer me. Answer me. Answer me right now. Answer me. I would do that. I would sit there right in front of Bengals management and ask them that. And how come no one has asked them that? Really? What are you doing in Cincinnati? If you're a Cincinnati beat writer, if you're a Cincinnati sports host, what the hell are you doing in Cincinnati? Wake up! Start cooking with some juice! As Chris Russo would say, start cooking with some gasoline! Start calling the task! The Bengals management! When he lost that 7th playoff game, and he went 0-7, when he dropped to 0-7, I would have stopped right there. Instead, he's gotten 3 more full seasons out of it. All 3 of them losing, by the way. And he can very well get another one. It makes no sense to me. It makes absolutely no sense. It makes 0 sense. Less than 0 cents. When he lost that game, when the Bengals got destroyed by the Cleveland Browns, Marvin Lewis should have been fired within 30 minutes of that game. That was an embarrassment. That was putrid. Now, the Bengals are a better football team. They're improved. But you're going to sit there and get your ass kicked by them? Really? They took them up and down the field. How do you explain that? Really, how do you explain that? It makes no sense to me. It makes absolutely no sense. If a guy like Mike McCarthy is going to be fired during the season, then hell, Marvin Lewis could get fired during the season. And hell, if a guy like Mike McCarthy can get fired, Marvin Lewis should get fired. And by Monday afternoon, New Year's Eve afternoon, 12 p.m. on December 31st, Marvin Lewis should be out of a job. And if he is not, I am calling for all Cincinnati Bengals fans to boycott that team. Because if they don't give a shit about you, you shouldn't give a shit about them. Because if they're going to continue to run out the combination of Marvin Lewis and Andy Dalton, the Cincinnati Bengals really don't give a fuck about winning. They really don't give a fuck about winning. They don't care. They're showing you they don't care. The fact that they have employed Marvin Lewis for about 5-6 more years than they should have, then I'm at least 3-4 more years than they should have. If they're going to employ him for this long, they don't care. We've made fun of the Browns. We made fun of all these teams all these years. The Bengals don't care about winning. They don't care.